What if the biggest limit on your potential is not your talent, your intelligence, or your effort, but it's something if you use it every day? Yeah. If you play a computer game, who here plays computer games? Anyone? What do you play? Sorry? Okay, I never heard this. So Snake, you said. Just Snake? We still play this? I played this too. That's cool. I didn't know that. I thought everyone is like in Fortnite or stuff like that. Okay, so the grind. Yeah, you're grinding for hours in a game and you can't beat the boss or win against the snake. If you study harder, I studied harder in a lot of subjects because I have ADHD and I'm also on the autism spectrum. I have mild Asperger's, so a lot of subjects for me were never very easy for me. Okay, so it was a lot of struggle. So I know this as well. Or in sports, if you do competitive sports, same thing. I was always very competitive in football, but I wasn't always the best player. But I tried really hard. So remember this feeling of feeling stuck. It's not because you're failing. It's because you're playing the wrong game. Basically, we all play the wrong game. And our brain is the game engine, and our reality is the game it's running. So that's your personal reality. And every game has a source code. You guess already what's yours? Your language is a source code. And it gets now very complicated. So stay with me and don't sign off. Don't check on your phone if you're interested in this, because it's pretty interesting for all the AI topics. So the layer one is your semantics. Semantics is meaning, yeah? Your words. And think about like semantics like your character stats, statistics, okay? So if you say, I have to study, it's -5 motivation. If you say, I get to master this, it's +10 motivation. So why is that? Because the words you're using, they're not just describing reality, they're programming it. And when you say, I have to, your brain treats it like core. When you say, I get to it, it treats it like an opportunity, okay? Same task, different code, different game. Code layer 2 is syntax. That's the logic. And syntax is basically the logic how we assemble sentences. And every language has their own syntax. So I assume most of you here are bilingual, at least, right? Who speaks more than 2 languages? Wow, that's awesome. What kind of languages are you speaking? Arabic and English? Anyone speaks 3 languages? You? That's great. So remember this, because I think you can all relate to this. So one of like a broken logic path, if we stay at the example previously I said before, even so I study, I still fail. That's broken. When I study this way, I improve. It's not just the way you say, it's how you structure your thoughts. And your syntax is your brain if-then statements. Another example is, who watched Star Wars? Who knows Yoda? How does Yoda speak? So English syntax is subject, verb, object, SVO. And Yoda is using the object first. So instead of you have become powerful is the right sentence. He says, powerful you have become, right? So that's basically different syntax, different language. So German has a different syntax, Arabic has a different syntax, Chinese has a completely different syntax. So it's very important to understand this, because syntax basically is connected with how you think and how you structure your thoughts. Maybe if you speak multiple languages, I at least have this experience. Sometimes, because I'm German, about certain things I think in German. And about other things I think in English. And how I think in which language, for example, it determines also how effective I can solve a certain set of problems. And it gets even better. So language isn't just code. It's a routing system for your thoughts. So for example, in German is very precise. So if I speak German, this part of my brain is more active. For example, if you speak Arabic, the center part of your brain is more connected. And if you, and there are a lot of cultural effects on this as well. That's why, for example, in Germany, you have a lot of engineers. If you speak Russian, you're more process thinking. That's why there are a lot of software engineers. Arabic, emotional depth and poetry. And then you have Chinese. With Chinese people are mostly very good in math and mathematics, because they can remember numbers better and more effective than I do, for example, as a German. So that's, for example, why in the Western world we have only 4-digit pins by default, because our brain can not process more. But for example, if you grow up in China, like 8 digits it's not a problem for you. Another example, if you learn programming, code, you think differently. So it teaches you to think in systems and loops and logical trees. So you learn to solve problems better if you, for example, learn to code. That's already what I just said. You have an edge. The same, by the way, applies if you read books. If you read a book, you synchronize your brain basically to the syntax of the person that wrote it. That's another fascinating thing, because for each and every one of us, I mean, like there's a certain syntax for your language, but also it has more effects also on your cultural upbringing. And on the other hand, also, every one of us has their own syntax and semantics within the language that we're using. That's also quite fascinating. So it's kind of like a fingerprint.